Whether or Not on WHAS 11 Plus is sponsored by Big O Tires.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Whether or Not, our weekly weather streaming show right here on WHAS 11 Plus, sponsored by Big O Tires. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mallory Schnell, joined by meteorologist John Gordon, as always, and a very special guest.
We got the big dog here.
Our very own Doug Proffitt.
I tell you what, it is a thrill and an honor to be a part of the Weather Divas here on the set. I love this.
The Weather Divas.
It takes a lot to get into your club. In fact,
I mean,
you have
it's
to
exclusive.
You have to survive a winter storm to get at the invitation. So it's good to be here.
Of all the anchors I ever met, he is the one that should be a meteorologist.
Oh, yes, definitely. Obviously, there's a reason why we have Doug joining us today. We've been wanting to have you on one of our Whether or Not shows that was winter themed, because you are our resident winter and snow lover. So
yes, I love it.
This week in weather history, we're talking about the 1994 snowstorm. And of course, we're going to hear all about your stories. I want you to chime in with how things have changed as well. But first, we're going to break down some of the specifics in terms of the numbers. So if we take a look at max here, you can see in terms of how much snow fell with this storm, 15.9 inches fell at the airport between January 16th and 17th back in 1994. That's 32 years ago. Most of that falling on the 17th, which was MLK Day. That Monday, 15.5 inches. That still stands as the snowiest day on record for Louisville. And these are some of the storm impacts. The governor shut down 5 interstates for 5 days. Hundreds of vehicles, of course, stranded along the highways. 2 deaths in Kentucky, unfortunately, from the storm, and 42,000 customers without power for the entire week. Got this information from the National Weather Service here in Louisville. And then, of course, it was a double hit here. We had all that snow on the ground, temperatures plummeted. The coldest temperature ever on record for Louisville, still standing, was a few days later, January 19th in 1994, 22 below zero, the actual air temperature there. And the coldest Kentucky temperature on record, still standing in Shelbyville, 37 degrees below zero, also on the 19th of January. So
we couldn't handle either one of those.
Right. And Doug, I want you to walk us through your experience through this storm, because I know you were talking to me about it last night. Yes, we have a lot of video we're going to be showing while we talk over. Oh, there's Doug.
That's Rachel Platt on the right. Live at 5:30. That's when we came in. Actually, we went on the air at 5:30. Today, Mallory, as you know, you would have been on all overnight. I actually got on the air a little late with Rachel because on my way to the station, I crashed. I didn't crash. I just wrecked my wife's car, slid it off into the ditch. And there was a guy cleaning a parking lot where I was in an International Harvester Scout. And I said, hey, can you get me down to WHAS? I'm going to be on there about 5:30. I'll make sure the station gives you $50. And he said, yes. And it was harrowing. Today, he'd get 500 because I-71, the semis were already off to the side. It was a heavy, wet snow. It was coming down the size of Dixie cups. I mean, I was hanging out the passenger side, wiping the windshield for him to come in. When he came into this studio, I told him, you're not going anywhere because we have nobody to interview. You're the first interview to talk about what it was like to come in. Rachel and I were then on all day long, and the station put us up at the seal back. My friends had to run down clean underwear. It was amazing what happened there. But the whole town shut down because we didn't have any snow removal infrastructure that you see today.
Right.
Then the temperatures, Mallory, that you just talked about, the water mains broke everywhere. There was concern about putting out fires, but this community came so together. We were on the air. Basically, we were just a pass-through service. We would say, so-and-so over on Everett Avenue in the Highlands needs an SUV. Does somebody out there have an SUV? Can you go rescue them? They need to get to pick up their medication, or they need to get to the hospital. And this town would flock and take people. And we had people who were having children who needed to get to having babies. I mean, you're 32 years old.
Yes, we were talking about this. I was born in 94. I was in my mother's belly at this point. But I have friends who were born in January of 94, of course, and I know all of their parents have these crazy stories, either about being stuck at the hospital or needing to get to the hospital. I mean, just a wild time.
It was so fascinating because in the lead up to the storm came in on a Monday.
Right.
A Sunday night into Monday. That's right. That Sunday morning, we were all here. In fact, I was anchoring from the rooftop because the city was imploding one of the tallest skyscrapers in the city at 4th and Broadway, the Commonwealth Building. We were doing live coverage. I was anchoring that. It was a beautiful, cold, sunny day on the corner of the building. And just before we were going off the air, early in the morning after the building came down, I looked and I saw our chief meteorologist at the time, Chuck Taylor, who lived downtown. He liked to be close to the station, running into the building. And he said, would you say, before we go off the air, that we're going to have a range of snow anywhere between 6 to 8 inches? That's what it's looking like. And I said, sure, I got that on. Then during the day, the forecast went up. Then it went down, and nobody had any confidence in what was going to happen. But the news director at the time was not going to take any chances, and he had us all here, and that's why Rachel and I were here to go on the air right at 5:30 in the morning. It was unbelievable that the community did what it did because, you know, the other sidebar story in this is UPS.
Right.
UPS told the state and the city, you guys get your act together or we're out of here because they had just opened Worldport and had put such a ton of money into it.
So it was not well forecast, okay? So originally they had snow in on Saturday, and then Saturday night, Sunday, they changed it to freezing rain and sleet because there was all this freezing rain and sleet out in Illinois and Missouri. And then they started changing it, like Chuck Taylor and others. We're going to put snow back in, 4 to 6, 6 to 8. Then we're going to bring it down a little bit. And then they started realizing, because what does Jim Cantore love to do? Thunder snow.
Right.
And when you see thunder snow, whatever you're forecasting, double immediately.
So we were in the studio. Rachel and I were on the air talking and passing along a lot of information. Ken Schultz was in here at the time. We heard this building rattling, and we thought, well, it's somebody. Nobody's moving a dumpster around at this hour of the morning. And we just stopped and we said, Ken, are you hearing this? And he said, folks, I want to let you all know right now. What you've just experienced is thunder snow. We've never had it around here since I've been around, and I can explain it, and he did. Thankfully, that's the first time I ever heard the term.
Yeah, we didn't know a lot about thunder snow back then.
Right.
And the whole forecast process, they didn't really understand. Back then, how many computer models do we have? We had 2. We didn't have all these high-resolution radars. We really got the Doppler that year in 94, later that year. So we were learning a lot. That would have kept an event, and I love these pictures.
That's Donnie Rourke, one of our veteran photographers. And he was in the middle of the interstate, one of the ramps that would go into the city. And yes, I still love snow even despite this, although this was a very frightening experience. A lot of people had to be rescued, and Louisville was not an SUV town. One of my favorite stories was the locally owned Houseman Motor Company, a Jeep company on East Market Street. It's now Feast Barbecue. They were getting calls from people coming back into Louisville after the storm in the airport saying, I have no way to get home. I have no way to get up my driveway. We've never had an SUV. Would you deliver me a Jeep to the airport and I'll sign the contract there?
Wow.
They sold Jeeps at the Louisville airport.
That's fascinating.
That's a great story. I love that.
That's my favorite story.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess we should talk about how we've come forward. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, because I mean, how would we handle this in 2026?
So like we said, we didn't have the resources we have now. We have webcams. We have 15 different computer models. We have high-resolution temperature data from the Kentucky Mesonet. We have all these toys now to help us protect you. Look at these. Yeah, they mentioned, Mallory mentioned the interstates are closed. The parkways were closed. The entire state of Kentucky was completely shut down. We've come a long way. I don't think you'd see an event this bad missed anymore.
So here's what our local politicians did. And let me tell you, that UPS message, that lit the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Sure did.
Worldport was brand new and hiring thousands of people. And so it was Jerry Abramson was the mayor, and I believe we still had a county judge at the time that may have been Dave Armstrong. anyway, they took tours of northern cities. They went to Buffalo. They went to Chicago.
My home.
And they found, this is what we have now that they took from those cities. We have garbage trucks with plows on the front of them, dump trucks with plows on the front of them, smaller trucks with plows on the front of them, and we have brine being sprayed on the roads. That was all taken from those northern cities, and then they also learned logistics and plan of it.
Right, and one of the big things the UPS did is the giant snow melters. They have the most amazing snow melters, so they just push it in one area, and it just keeps melting and You've seen it, haven't you, out there? It's amazing.
That's impressive.
Yes, it is, so if we had a 15-inch snowfall today, I wouldn't worry about the snow. The 1-2 punch of the falling temperatures.
Yes.
That's the other
as
thing.
we already know, Mallory, we see these big water main breaks all the time. It'd be a mess.
I mean, that's when it gets really dangerous too. And we were talking about power outages. Honestly, when I was reading up on this, the fact, I mean, 2 lives is too many, but I was shocked that it actually wasn't more. 2 deaths in Kentucky after all of this, just due to the power outages, the major snow. I wonder if this falling on a federal holiday helped at all, kept people at home in general?
It did, and I will tell you another thing that helped is the way the spirit of this community is in the state of Kentucky. There were people out there with big monster trucks. They just didn't exist a lot. They dropped everything went and checked on their neighbors. They knew who would be snowbound. They were in tune to WHAS TV and radio. Radio became very, very important too. And we just basically became an information service. We didn't worry about, I mean, people were answering phones in the newsroom, writing it down, bringing the phone numbers to us. We were putting people's phone numbers on the air.
Right.
It'd be hard to do today because of the situation, the way the world's become.
Yeah, Doug's exactly right. At the Weather Service, a guy named Mike Murphy had a 4-wheel drive. He took the midnight shift home, brought the day shift in, and got people. He transported people for the next 3 days. And the spirit of Kentucky.
I love that.
It is, and not only did Louisville change in our snow removal, I think I heard the current mayor, Craig Greenberg, said this year say we have like 100 vehicles that can handle trucks, snow removal in Louisville. But then the state of Kentucky learned those lessons. So now we have the Kentucky Department of Transportation doing the same thing. Louisville brought those lessons home, and you now have a network around us.
Yes, at the Weather Service side, I mean, when I came there, we were not doing partner briefings. So when we do a big snow briefing, the media's on there, the power companies are on there, the transportation officials, LG&E, they're all on there with the same message.
Here's a question for you. Would you have been able to accurately predict that forecast back at the time?
Oh,
with the
I missed a lot.
Since a lot of good meteorologists here in town, nobody got it right.
No, I wouldn't have
had
had
Chuck
that
Taylor,
much.
Wave had Tom Wills. John Belsky was over at WLKY at the time.
No, I would not have had 15 inches then, no. The big thing I would have had, though, when I think of the 94 event, I really think of one thing. I think about that Arctic high pressure that came in after, and we went down to 37 below in Shelbyville, 36 below on the other side of the river in Indiana. I mean, when you think about that, it's amazing more people didn't freeze to death.
Right. I mean, that's what I was saying. So obviously it was a 1-2 punch here with the major snow, the cold air. And I know everybody has stories from this time. And I know, Doug, you got a good rant call. That wasn't quite a rant, but it was a story about 1994. So let's take a listen if we can.
I ended up being able to drive from Nashville to Louisville on the interstate after it had been closed for 3 or 4 days. We had a 4-wheel drive and the National Guard let us on. So I got to drive with like 30 inches of snow on the highway and no other car in the world except for the ones covered in snow, the trucks and the cars and the trees, all the way from Nashville to Louisville. That was an awesome experience. But again, that was Thursday after the storm started on Sunday.
Great.
I love that call. How descriptive is that? And I love the fact she's taking us to the Thursday after the storm.
I mean,
that's how bad it still was.
Yeah, days and days later. And the only thing that I have reminiscent of this was back in March of 2015. I know when I-65 shut down and people were stranded there overnight.
Not good.
So I can only imagine in 94 it was so much worse.
I actually thought last January, Mallory, the way January was turning out, snow after snow, a total of 20 inches over January, I thought, we're setting ourselves up for another winter storm. Something was going to happen. I
big
thought it was getting close.
I mean, 10.5 inches for me was enough, I think, but you know.
Yeah, this was a very, very tricky storm. I don't think you're going to see weather people miss a storm of this magnitude again, but weather is very humbling.
Which, you know,
Yes,
the thing about it is, as history goes on, a lot of stories and anything, you know, you've been around your grandparents or whatever, the stories get exaggerated. None of these stories are exaggerated. These are as crazy as they were back then. It's fun to talk about it.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd want to live through it again, but I do know that Kentuckiana would handle it so much differently, and that includes Indiana too as well.
Absolutely.
They're ready for it.
Yeah, so our forecasting has gotten better, communication has gotten better, how the city reacts to these snows has gotten better. So obviously a lot has changed in 32 years, but this is still a storm that I know people all around here always talk about.
Yes, let's hope we have some quieter weather.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite to the club.
Yes.
Hey,
it's
look
great
who
to
came,
have
everybody.
you. Yeah, we could be talking about this all day, but we do have a few other things that we want to hit after the break. So thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for coming, Doug.
No problem.
And after the break, we're going to talk about this week's cold snap, along with our viral video, that's always hard for me to say, of the week and weather trivia. So stay with us.
One more reason for Big O.
Big O Tires has more than 460 locations nationwide. We feel everyone in our community deserves legendary care. Big O is the team you trust.
At Big O, that now is no problem at all.
Right now, get $80 to $120 instant savings on 4 select in-stock tires with installation purchase, plus 0 interest if paid in full within 12 or 6 months.
Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Welcome back to Whether or Not, sponsored by Big O Tires. Austin and Matt are joining us now to talk about our one big thing of the week, and it goes pretty well with the snowstorm of 1994, not because of the snow, but because we're taking that turn back to winter. So obviously we've been seeing those ups and downs all throughout winter. The ups being very up with highs in the 50s, 60s, or even 70s. We were talking about that last week. And now we're going to start to see this transition. So this week we've still had highs in the 40s, that 56 degrees on Wednesday. That was at midnight before that cold front rolled through.
I know about that.
Yes, we hit 56 at
the
midnight
nasty plunge,
on
didn't we?
Wednesday. But yeah, we were around freezing by about sunset. And of course, we had some icy roads to prove it. Temperature trends through the weekend. We're going to have additional doses of this cold, cold air rolling on through here this weekend into early next week. So make sure you have those warm jackets and scarves and hats and
All of it.
gloves ready, because we are feeling, of course, that chill. Now, in terms of snowfall potential, not a ton of moisture to work with, but really the snows, and I know, Matt, you can talk more about this because he lived through it yesterday.
I did.
Have been very narrow, very squally type of snows, and so they're very hit or miss. So while the area is not expecting a big snow, if you get caught under one of these bands, you can get a quick inch or 2 of snowfall in a short period of time. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
a little bit?
absolutely. So I was at my apartment yesterday in East Louisville, and it was the most insane thing I've ever seen when it comes to snow. To be frankly honest with you. So I was hanging up clothes in my closet. Before I got up off the couch, I looked outside, nothing. Went to my closet, came back, it was white out.
Yeah.
Complete whiteout. It was the heaviest snow I've ever seen. It was so windy. The snow, I opened my door flung open from my balcony, and all the snow started coming in. It was like almost an inch on
Here's
my
the
balcony.
video.
Watch this
Look at
video.
those flakes.
Those
It
are
was
flakes the size of
It was
cat
smacking me in the
paws.
face. Like, this was seriously the heaviest snow. It was some big flakes. And like it says, zoom in, that was one of the area's shopping malls right there. It was just crazy to see.
Right at the very top of our 4 o'clock newscast yesterday, we hit whiteout conditions here in downtown Louisville. You couldn't see Louisville from our Jeffersonville camera. And by the time I wanted to start talking about it, it had
was gone.
cleared up
It was gone.
completely.
Yeah.
It was just like it hadn't happened.
What Mallory just showed you with the big blue and purple colors in Lake Michigan and up in Minnesota, and they come across the lake and they produce these little snow showers, what I call them streamers, and they're only about 12, 15 miles wide. So there's people like, what snow? What man are you talking about? It
I
didn't
was
snow
getting
at
that
my
in my
house.
comment section. Like, what snow are you? It didn't snow in Louisville last night. I was like, It snowed a very narrow band along the Gene Steiner by the Lewis and Clark Bridge.
And the fall-offs are usually drastic. You'll go from, the 2 inches to nothing, and there won't be anything in between.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had a lot of accidents last night because it was a 1-2 punch. I was talking about this earlier, but we had that stripe of snow, but then we also just had flash freezing.
Yeah.
I mean, the roads were shiny.
Wow.
And
if it's shiny, watch your hiney. I'm telling you, when you get these
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, I've been saying it for years. So, I mean, black ice is one of the worst things for transportation of all. I mean, it is bad. If you were outside last night, temperature was 56, right, at midnight.
Right.
And sunset, it was 29, 30, 31. And the temperature's going down links, and you had strong northwest winds. You had strong winds, so the ground is freezing. Flash freeze, what Mallory just said. It is not good for transportation. And what I always like to talk about is the Gene Slider. The Gene Slider was sliding last night. It was total chaos on the Gene Slider.
And that's talking about the actual surface of the ground. The bridges and overpasses have frozen before that happened.
Yeah,
so everything was slick anyway.
Yeah. Yes. I think it was 6 accidents between the Gene Snyder and where 71 meets, just into that area. And I could see the interstate, the Gene Snyder, from my apartment, and all you just saw was cars stand still.
Yeah, well, the Easton Bridge, I mean, people were stuck on it for hours because there was a semi accident. So it was quite bad. Meanwhile, in downtown Louisville, we had some flying flurries.
Flying flurries at my apartment.
Festive flurries.
At my apartment, literally nothing happened.
It was like,
I believe at least.
Wild. So that's kind of the pattern that we're in. Very cold.
Big O's is our sponsor. I mean, you have good tires. This is the time of the year to have good tires. Your windshield wipers are good. You have a full tank of gas. Little things in your car. Make sure you have a blanket. My parents, I grew up in Western New York, always had blankets in the trunk in case we broke down. It was pretty cold where I grew up. But anyway, that's what they did.
Yeah. Well, and on top of it being cold, this is also the time of year where a lot of people get sick.
Oh, yeah, so it's flu season. It's called that for a reason here in Kentucky. And the weather can have an impact on your health. Here's more on the flu and how different weather conditions impact said flu. Let's start with temperature. The flu loves colder weather. It's surrounded by a fatty outer lipid. In warmer temperatures, the virus's outer coating becomes less stable. In colder air, that outer layer stays firm, helping the virus survive longer outside the body. But an even bigger factor is humidity. The flu likes dry weather. The lower the humidity, the better for the flu. Dry air lets virus particles stay airborne longer and dries out nasal passages, which weakens your body's first line of defense. Dry air causes respiratory droplets to evaporate into tiny aerosols that can go deeper into the respiratory tract. In humid weather, larger flu particles fall to the ground faster and are easier for our immune systems to spot and attack. Combine all this with the fact that people are spending more time indoors when it's cold. This gives the virus a better chance to jump from person to person. So what can you do? Research shows that keeping your indoor environment a tad more humid in the winter may help. The sweet spot is what scientists call the Goldilocks zone, where indoor humidity levels are between 40 and 60%. Studies have shown that the transmission and effectiveness of the flu virus dropped at a daycare where the indoor humidity was higher.
The more you know.
Wow.
Learned a bunch.
Yeah, a lot of people have been getting sick. I know. It's always around the holidays. People are spending time with loved ones. You're indoors.
You're inside more, away from the sun. The air is drier. So it's a 3-2 punch.
Yeah, so take care of yourself, everybody.
Please do.
All right, viral. I'm gonna have to come up with another saying because it's hard for me to say viral video.
Video that got watched a bunch.
The video of the week might be easier for me to say is out of Alaska. So take a look at this. This past weekend, officials in Juneau urged some residents to evacuate, others to be really on standby due to a potential avalanche threat. The emergency response worker who recorded this video said he saw several avalanches in just under 2 hours. Thankfully, no major injuries have been reported, but they've been dealing with rain falling on top of record snowfall, which is just not a good combination.
My good friend runs the Juneau office, so the all-time record snow was broken in December. They had 84 inches. The all-time record before was 52. They're 30 inches above normal. And now what you saw with Mallory a few minutes ago was the upper jet is going way up into Canada and then coming down. That's why we're getting cold. It's warming in Alaska right now. It is not good.
So is it rapid snow melt and rain?
Yes. It's a bad combination.
You never want that.
Not good at all.
Obviously, the avalanche has prompted days worth of road closures in the area. You said 84 inches.
84 inches in December. They broke their record.
Incredible. I can't wrap my mind around that much snow.
And we got a tape measure.
Yeah. That's wild.
And I'm on a podcast Monday nights, Weather Brains. We're going to do a whole show on avalanche Monday night. We're going to have a director of the Colorado Center and maybe the one in British Columbia. Avalanches are a big problem in the western U.S., more than you ever would imagine.
And I wouldn't even know how to forecast
Wouldn't have
that
a clue.
thing or
You're gonna
how
learn.
you do that. So
You don't
Can you?
forecast that. I don't.
Yeah, there's forecasts.
Conditions?
You can forecast avalanches.
We
I guess.
don't. There are people who do it.
Oh well, yeah, people.
There are people who are a lot
smarter than me.
We just have a few hills. So.
We don't have that.
Thankfully, we don't have to deal with that. But Alaska, definitely an area to watch these past couple of weeks, as you mentioned, with that heavy snowfall, followed by the rain and avalanche risk. All right, now we're going to move to our photo of the week. And Austin, what do we got here?
I like to peruse our Kentucky, Indiana Cloud Watchers Facebook group for photos. And I found one photo of the week. It is of a sunset. And there it is. That was sent in by Matthew Hagan.
Gorgeous.
And this is just a really cool photo. They took it at, I guess, the perfect time. They know what they're doing with their camera, too, to get the nice bright orange and the silhouette of downtown Louisville. I like the Louisville skyline a lot. It makes me very happy. And this is a really, really, really good photo. Thank you for submitting that. And you can have your photos included in this segment if I were to pick them. But I like looking at them in general. You can send it to us via that text message number right there, that email, or the Kentucky, Indiana Cloud Watchers Facebook group. It's an open group. I think you have to request to be a member to post, but it is an open group. You can just search for it, and there's a lot of pictures on there. We have a pretty talented set of photographers here in Kentucky.
I'd say people named Matthew know how to take good pictures.
People named Matthew do know how to take good pictures and good video. So thank you for that, and we'll see what we get next time.
Yeah, we've had some great sunrises and sunsets this week with all the cloud cover kind of streaming in here. So always send us your weather photos and videos, even if it doesn't get aired on this particular show. We might show it in a newscast.
Yes.
We just love it.
And we just in general like to look at them.
Yes, pretty pictures. All right, now it's time for our weekly weather trivia segment with meteorologist Matt Breland. Matt?
Hey there, and thank you for tuning in to Whether or Not, and you're just in time for this week's edition of Weather Trivia. I'm meteorologist Matt Breland, and since we're in winter, we're talking about snow in the forecast. I figured it'd be a good one to share some snow facts with you guys. So the first one is going to catch you off guard, because this caught me off guard, actually, whenever I was doing my research on this. Snow is not white. It's transparent. The reason why it appears white is because of a very crazy physics process that I'll spare you the details. If you want to know more about that, do your research. But basically, in a nutshell, snow appears white because transparent objects do much better at scattering light. And the way that the light physics work within a transparent object, it reflects white light. So do your research if you want to know more about that. Also, this one was very interesting. The largest snowflake ever recorded was 15 inches in diameter. So think of a ruler and add 3 inches to it. That's a massive snowflake. I would be shocked if I saw that big of a snowflake fall. That was recorded in Fort Co, Montana. So there's another snowflake fact for you. And here is the last one. The fear of snow, it's not snowophobia, it's not flakeophobia, it's chinophobia. An interesting name for the fear of snow. So if you're scared of snow, you've got chinophobia. We do have snow in the forecast. We are continuing to keep you updated with those details, but back over to the Weather Impact team to continue the episode. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Matt. Some good facts about snowflakes there. I don't think I have a fear of snow. Not to that point. But
I think if you have a fear of snow, you live in Florida.
I have a fear of driving in it or being around other people driving in it.
Yeah.
That's a big one,
I've
too.
never heard of this.
Driving anxiety is real.
Move south.
Yeah.
Very south.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up another episode. Very wintry weather this week. We did the recap of 94 with Doug. Talked about the one big thing, switching our pattern back up to this wintry, cold pattern. It is January. So honestly, I like when things fall in line with the seasons. But make sure you stay warm. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you back here next time on Whether or Not.
Stay warm.